Welcome to Philly Coco presents Side Project Spotlight, episode 109. This is a developer's journey into making cool stuff. I am Kotaro.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Aaron.
And we are Philly Coco, a Philadelphia-based Coco Heads community focused on Apple development that primarily, but not exclusively, means iOS, Mac, tvOS, watchOS, and visionOS development. Philly Coco's true desire is to take you higher on your own developer journey. Whew, speaking of journey, my goodness, what's going on in this AI world? It's only been 2 days and we've been bombarded with so much news. And it's not, I mean, granted, this is an Apple podcast, but it's just we cannot escape the AI bubble, the AI hype bubble that is, I guess I don't know. It's also
we'll call this
2
our
days ago.
AI hype bubble updates or something.
I don't know. I mean, at this point, I feel like I'm the layman asking for the people that keep in the know about all of these models. So, for context, as of right now, as of today, of recording, which was is a Wednesday, April 8th, maybe a day or two before Claude came out with revealing that they have something called Mythos, and then today, both Google had released a new Gemma, and Meta has
Do they
released.
have an old Gemma?
Oh, this is Gemma 4.
This is
the fourth Gemma. And then Facebook has released, I kept thinking it was Spark Muse, but it's actually, according to Aaron, Muse Spark, which is their new, is it their Olama replacement or no?
Yeah. It's been a while since they released a model.
I mean, how long I think you said it was about a year and a half-ish?
It was May or something last year when they released Llama 4, which nobody liked. Everyone was still using Llama 3.
Really?
I mean, yeah, okay. So these three models, there's not much to really speak much of the Mythos one because apparently, according to internal testings or whatever, it blows out Opus the same way Opus blew out Sonnet. But because nobody will have access to it besides 10 people,
Well, yeah, Apple and Microsoft and Linux Foundation, other people that Anthropic is you need to patch your software, and also you have millions and billions of dollars maybe to pay us.
Well, there you go.
Eventually, I'm not sure they're actually paying right now.
It's 5x more expensive than Opus.
It's
only
X more
5x.
expensive than a GPT, isn't it? 5 or isn't 10x?
Yeah, something like that.
It's something ridiculously expensive.
Okay, well, and slower, right? It's not
Yeah, it's probably 10x the size.
10x the size.
It's huge.
Okay.
And Anthropic has capacity problems.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really that's the main reason they're not releasing it.
No. You don't understand. This is the latest AGI. This is it's gonna pwn all of our software instantaneously.
Make sure you
over
update
the internet
all your
or something like a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, once they build out enough data centers to run it.
Yeah, but then it's
For
gonna
more than 3
self-replicate or something and destroy us all because it's so powerful. The Mythos. That's why they named it Mythos.
I just need it to do online gambling for me. Can it do that?
It'll win all the gambling. There's no gambling in the world of Mythos AGI super duper Anthropic model day.
I need to do all my calls and puts. I need it to
I mean, the hype of this thing is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But okay,
I mean,
just to summarize the things that are actually realistic for AI, for security researchers, software security researchers, looks like it's going to be very useful. This level of model, because they touted how it found all these 0 days or whatever. I take that with a grain of salt. The specifics of that are not really revealed. I did see some of the. I think I saw one of the PRs for the BSD one. It was a really simple thing, but it's one of those things that can elude you for a long time. I think some other people are able to reproduce some of those security findings with little steering of existing models. So, I mean, I just assumed that these things would be able to find all kinds of errors in source code that's open source. Thought that was already happening. But a lot of people are afraid. They're terrified that, I guess, too many new people will be able to find security vulnerabilities and then create exploits for them. I'm I don't know. I think you're underestimating how hard it is in real life.
You drain your bank account first before you.
Yeah, I mean, it's expensive, but I don't know. It's just that
if they were to actually release that into the wild, how much do you think
they will? Though they have to. It's economically.
They only said they wouldn't release the preview version. They didn't say they wouldn't ever release a model of this scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But once they do, does the
they'll be like,
do they charge like a $500? Is there like a $500 level to get to that? To use that
like the $5,000 level. Yeah, probably.
Well,
all right. So what about the other two? Do we have any idea? Because they just released, so I don't expect any.
So anyway, it's a big deal. It's a big model. It's huge. It's we'll see when it actually can be tested by people, not Anthropic. We could see what's about. But to me, it's just like, okay, it's the latest release from Anthropic. It's incrementally better in some ways. They really, really are pushing it to be good at coding, which is not the same thing as software engineering. So sure, great.
I don't
know why people are petrified, but
what's so special about Gemma and
Gemma? That's way more interesting
Muse.
to me.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know anything about the Muse Spark.
Yeah, that just came out like a few hours ago.
Yeah, so, I was just literally like, did you see this? It's like
the time recording.
It's like I didn't even know what came out.
Yeah, well, I think it's another like the one from Meta is like another like Opus or like big frontier scale model.
Well, the thing about Gemma that is really interesting to me is we've talked about the idea of edge models, or I guess that's what they call them, but having the local models being a thing that Apple is well positioned for, and I think this is a non-Apple model that runs on your phone. And like, here, give me a prompt. I have it for those listening. I'm showing iPhone mirroring here in the recording, so we can test this out. But they use some crazy compression techniques to.
This is like the smallest one. Was this one at 2 billion parameter?
The 2 billion one.
They released like 4 different ones or 5 from like 2 billion to like 30 billion.
So because it's a local model,
you can run the big one on your own computer if you have
on your laptop.
Ask it the raspberry question.
What's the raspberry question?
How many R's are in a raspberry? Gotta get that one right.
I don't even know how many R's in raspberry. I spelled it wrong. There
you go.
My
goodness. Oh, that'll be hilarious. If you just have a misspelled word, let's see if it catches it. Right, so the local model.
There are 2 R's in raspberry.
But there's 3.
There's 3. So, fails.
I mean, it's fast.
Look how fast it is.
It did come back pretty quick.
Yeah, that was like instant.
Yeah.
Instant wrong answer.
Instant wrong answer.
That's the title of the podcast right there. Oh, that's good.
All right, so now you asked it to write.
These like small models, you can fine tune them.
Yeah.
Without like a huge number of GPUs.
This is not meant for coding or like answering general questions.
No, you would fine tune this to your use case.
Yeah.
All right, so give it like 24 plus 89.
It's not a calculator; it's an LLM. Let's see, 113.
Oh, it was all right. It did get it, and it is fast.
Model on GPU.
That.
It says. So I want to point out that the what is this? What they call this thing? Google names this app. What do they name this thing? AI Edge Gallery. It's like the stupidest name, but they
the app itself.
The app itself is called AI Edge Gallery. You can download it on your phone, and it is now for some reason I can't scroll. It's such a jank piece of software. Look, it's like all locked up.
It's probably probably written in Flutter.
Yeah, you should get the MLX model and build your own app.
What, on my Mac?
Yeah,
you can vibe code
have
that
you tried
in a day.
That?
No, I not for this model. I was messing around with some local models a while ago, but I haven't done it recently. But if you look at like the MLX Swift repo, there's like examples of how to.
But the Gemma model is
and they're like much more well optimized for Apple platforms.
But based on like the Trust Me Bro benchmarks, you never heard that?
Everybody trusts those.
I think that's a Fireship thing. I think that's where I saw it. Fireship did that. He's like, every time he talks about AI stuff, he's like, trust me, bro, benchmarks. I just thought that was so perfect.
All right. So for people who don't know what a trust me, bro benchmark is, what are we talking about here?
Like the benchmarks they use to check performance. I mean, the interesting thing about Gemma is that here's like the chart that Google has. They put their, obviously larger than the one that's run on my iPhone, but their models, they say, get performance versus size, basically. Okay. This is obviously, when you just say performance, it's encapsulating too much to be a really useful metric to know if it would work for you for your particular task. But the point is, like, they're able to get something probably useful for at least some people's actual tasks in a model that is a fraction of the size of most of their competition. But on the Trust Me Bro benchmarks, it's similar capabilities. So that's what's impressive. They did some really impressive compression techniques to do this. So if you have a like GPU on your PC, or if you have like a Mac, you can run these types of things. And I think Gemma, I think this is supposedly one of the current state of the arts in terms of performance for size. I'm not sure, haven't checked everything, but that's what I thought was the whole point about it.
So I see, at least based on the benchmarks.
Yeah, but but that's cool. That means that there has been improvement in the local models that are starting to come out, and not just from like the Chinese labs either. So like this is what American.
So I'm looking at these,
right? So.
Yeah, I'm looking at these as like you have a bunch of Quins, you have DeepSeek, GPTs all the way at the bottom, and then was it GLM?
Yeah, it's another Chinese model.
That's a Chinese model, and then Kimi 2K, Kimi K 2.5. Yeah, okay.
They're saying that the 31 billion parameter one is about a little less performance than the Kimi K 2.5 thinking, which is a new model.
Okay,
and that's in like hundreds of billion. That's an order of magnitude.
Yeah, you can't run the full size Kimi K 2.5 on your PC, but you can run the large Gemma model on your computer,
on your phone.
If you have like I think you could do it on one beefy GPU card. It's not going to be super fast, but it'll be like fast, maybe fast enough for something useful.
And then if you get like one of these quantized ones, like that you can like quantize the weights down to like 8 bits or 4 bits, then you could fit it on your like normal laptop.
Yeah.
No problem.
And then leave
it on your phone.
Connect it to like your OpenClaw.
Yep. Yeah, if you wanted to. That's what you're into.
And that's probably what everybody's going to do, because you can't use OpenClaw anymore. It's officially banned by Anthropic.
Because they have their own version, right? Like.
Sort of. I mean, I've been trying it out. Yeah, the co-work and the other Claude Code stuff. I mean, it's not the same, but they're adding they're adding similar features.
But
mainly I think it's
useful. Is it deleting? I'm sorry, not deleting. Is it organizing your email?
No, because I'm not gonna give some LLM that's not local anyway access to my email right now.
Is it clearing your calendar schedule? Is it?
Well, that's what I assume it's going to do if I hook it up. It's just going to like clear it all for forever. It's going to delete everything. No, but it's the whole space is crazy. We got between the Mythos Psychosis that's taking over social media right now, where people are just losing their minds. And then like the Gemma.
When you say the Mythos Psychosis, what exactly is going on? Because I'm off social media, so I'm like zero context of any of this.
I mean, our the Theo of T3 Chat, for instance, posted a video last night. It's currently titled "Claude Mythos and the End of Software," and I think he might be live right now saying he's scared. In the video, these are clickbaity titles, but
these are clickbait.
But he had a whole thing where he's like, oh, he's really very concerned about the ability of models of this size. Like he was predicting that in a few months, anyway, we'd get something like this, where it's essentially able to, like discover 0-day vulnerabilities and create exploits, and then that's going to make software far more vulnerable, and less secure. I mean, there is a point to that. It's not like without merit, but I do think that modern systems have multiple layers of security. It's not always just about one specific exploit in one kernel or something.
It's easy. Go ahead.
You just better buy your Claude super duper max thing so you can secure your system. Otherwise,
that's what they're saying.
You're in trouble.
Well, that's what Anthropic is doing. Yeah, Anthropic's like, you special people get access to this. So you can secure your software first, and people like Theo were like saying, "Oh, update all your stuff," and it's like, okay, update it, but then so what? If the model is like able to just find 0 days, a novice person can just find 0 days, then you're screwed either way.
The point is, you need the model to find your own 0 days.
Yeah, before other people with a model equivalent can find them and exploit them.
And then all you need to do is say, find all my 0-day bugs in my entire system.
Look,
go through all my software and fix them. No mistakes.
Fix it, no mistakes. I assume that's what they did, right? When they were testing this. I don't know if they went into much detail. I couldn't read the 200+ page card before I had to do productive things.
Because they expect you to summarize it. Good
with
grief.
their own AI that I'm paying
with their own AI
for it. But they're so the whole thing. But I'm saying Psychosis is like the merit, the merit-based parts of discussion about this are being overshadowed by people who I think are engagement baiting, perhaps. But also, I do think there's a fair number of people who literally have gone a little psychotic about the AI stuff, and there are people that do seem to be genuinely terrified or just think that the world is over. And you can't tell online whether people are being serious or not sometimes, but I'm sure at least some of them are. And, that's what I mean. There's just too much of this, at least on social media, too much of these people going hyperbolic.
Somebody watched the last Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah, seriously. That's what it reminded me of. That was a great movie. I love that movie. I mean, it's not my favorite.
What's the name of that movie? It was Mission Impossible. Which one? What?
Final Reckoning was it called? Or something?
Final Reckoning.
The other one was called whatever. What is it? Reckoning.
Dead Reckoning.
Dead Reckoning Part 1, and then it didn't do as well in the theater, so they changed the name of the Dead Reckoning Part 2 to be Final Reckoning, I guess.
Okay, they
somehow made it better.
They probably asked ChatGPT to fix that title.
Look, I watched that movie twice, and I'm still trying to figure out the plot of that movie. I'm like, so...
Isn't that the whole point of Mission Impossible? Is
it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
It doesn't make sense.
I could spoil the movie because it does try to connect to the other movies and stuff, but I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it.
Is that on Paramount Plus?
Who care about the plot?
Which streaming? I forget. Is that a
Netflix?
Paramount Plus?
I think has the first one and not the Final Reckoning. That's still I think you have to buy, or it's on some other. I don't know. Whatever. We're off topic.
It's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon.
Final Reckoning sounds.
Amazon is now 1080p unless you pay them extra. Oh my god. You know what? This is instead of the AI hype bubble updates section, this could just be the continuing enshittification dystopian section too. In some ways.
Sure. Why not?
It's all part of the same thing.
I just love how optimistic Aaron is today. This is just great. It's just the same thing. It's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. Okay. Well, anyways.
These AI companies are just trying to sell you more tokens. Otherwise, how are you going to live?
Yeah. How are you going to live? If you're not token maxing, what are you? Are you even a thing? Are you even alive if you're not token maxing at work?
Are you doing your job?
Yeah, are you even doing your job if you're not costing your employer ungodly amounts of money, generating ungodly amounts of code that you're going to have to support with even more token maxing?
All they have to do is keep throwing employees into the fire. It'll be fine.
Their logs, they're just burning them out.
Just keep throwing more employees into the fire. It'll be fine.
So that's a thing though. The token maxing thing is a real thing. Apparently, that some the big companies are doing. Employees. Mm-hmm. Look, if you give developers a metric, they're going to game it. So apparently, the managers thought to themselves, they read the Mythical Man Month and they read the historical documents about software engineering, and they looked and they said lines of code is a terrible metric, but it's not a terrible metric. Amount of tokens used, that's a better metric. We'll just use that instead. And so they just went to the worst thing ever, which is now instead of counting lines of code for productivity, how many tokens you use. If you don't use enough tokens, you must not be working. It's also ludicrous.
I feel
just keep deleting those lines of code and rewriting them. That's a lot of tokens.
You could do it. So if you want to token max and be responsible, make sure you're using the tokens to delete lines of code as well as create them so you keep them in parity. It's like an equilibrium. Keep it equilibrium in your code base.
This feels like a weird way to
oh God,
keep your
Siri's talking to me now. Shut up, Siri. All the AI things are going crazy.
Oh my goodness, we are really in peak psychosis.
You know what it is? It's Mythos from the future reaching back in time using its AI powers and messing with us because we were making fun of it.
Definitely.
We're screwed.
Yeah.
We're all in a simulation. We're simulated versions of ourselves right now being tortured by Mythos in the future. We don't even know it yet.
I mean, this is not even a real background.
Are we even here? Why aren't we token maxing? We should be token maxing.
Wait. Hold on here. Feel like
this is an unhinged episode.
I mean, I feel like all right. So, in order for you, because again, I am a very. Feels like this is a pattern for us all. It's I'm sort of the little baby step person, and Steve is the steady but yet high performance person. And then when we talk about token max, and we're on the Aaron level of like, yeah, let me just leave this here.
Impression Aaron's token maxing.
No.
Thankfully.
But in terms of like understanding this space, right? So like if you were to tell me how to token max, how should I token max for my job? I'm just asking for a job's sake.
I would think
job security.
Create a bunch of agents and tell them to do stuff. Doesn't matter what, as long as it's running up the bill. I mean, like generate PRs like crazy.
I don't want to keep burning my fellow employees, man.
They're like logs on the fire.
I mean, literally feels like that.
No, I mean, people, the token maxing, I mean, I guess it's just trying to make the agents, write more and more code. I mean, it's like, I guess you could also have it read things or organize things. You could have it do anything, I guess. I don't know how closely they're
really well-written Jira tickets.
Yeah. Perfect thing would be have a bunch of Jira tickets. Have it create Jira tickets and then go through Jira tickets.
And then that way and then while it's doing that, create issues in my GitHub project, for which then it does nothing really, but like as you said, like write a lot of code, delete a lot of code, and write a lot of tests.
Yes,
and then delete those tests, and then rewrite the tests,
keep doing that.
And just keep doing that, and all that is going to do is add like one little feature in my actual product,
exactly,
like the build number or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Something you could have just done with a script or yourself, or type 3 numbers in or whatever.
Exactly right.
Yeah, we're in an era of just things are crazy. Companies are doing crazy things. I don't know. If you're young, maybe you don't see. We are old. Okay, you're listening. We're old people. At least not Aaron, but Coulter and I are old. We've been in this game a long time. We've seen the faddishness. Like things come into fashion in software development and they go out of fashion. Things come in super hyped and like overhyped, and then they kind of settle
like
down
a baggy
to the
jean error.
Yeah.
There's a tight jean error.
There's what era?
It's like a fashion. Yeah, it's like fashion.
Yeah, there's a fashion. So, and nowadays, I think everything, it's the hype bubble, it's even more inflated because there's all these incentives because of social media, specifically like X. I think you can get paid for engagement. Like there's just, and that's where all the AI stuff is. Like that's why I'm on there. I'd like to follow programming stuff. There actually is a lot of useful stuff in the churn, but there's also a lot of this like psychotic posting, in my opinion, about this because there's a lot of incentive to do that. So just like you would token max at work, people are like engagement maxing on social media. And so if you're not critical about this stuff, if you don't have a clear head about it or any experience with these types of waves of innovation plus hype, it can be very overwhelming. And I think that, you need to take a break and literally touch grass and like have a life off your computer and
literally touch some grass.
I mean, literally, not just as the term we use. It's like literally go outside, find some grass, remind yourself.
I thought you meant the other
person.
type of touch grass, but okay.
No, I didn't mean the other grass. Yeah, I guess that you can. I know people do that too. I do not endorse that. We do not endorse
so
that
just
kind of
joking,
grass
just joking.
Yes.
Don't want to get it. Don't want to be put on the explicit label.
We spent this whole time talking about AI crap. Is there any more stuff we want to talk about the AI crap? Gemma's cool. That's my summary. Gemma is cool. It's a glimpse, I think, of more local models being useful to you. I would love to figure out how to experiment with one of these things, but I'm going to start with Apple stuff.
It would be interesting because it kind of like alludes to the notion, like with Apple, they had done that with Foundation, the Foundation model, that whole framework. So it'd be interesting to see what version 2 of that looks like come WWDC, which is in early mid-ish June. What's that?
Didn't it just get updated?
Which one? Yeah.
The Foundation model.
Foundation model?
I thought it got updated with the latest point release. Not
really?
Like fully done, but I thought there was some updates to it.
But there's still only like one size of a model that fits on all the devices.
I think Apple's going to give us access to the online model too. But
yeah.
The local models would really interest me from a software development thing, and you could see it stuff like OpenClaw being crazy for as crazy and irresponsible as it is for most people to probably run that software. There is utility, obviously, as we saw from our Alex Hillman interview. There's a lot of utility you can be gained by using these things like a personal assistant if you have it carefully set up. But the best way of doing that, I think, would be to be able to do it with a local model because it would be theoretically cheaper depending on what you're doing. And
you should be maxing out those tokens. Well, you wouldn't have to worry about it.
It depends. If you're doing something that's too complicated for a local model, then it's not worth doing on that. Or if you're trying to do something like that's going to generate huge amounts of tokens, like coding or something, you could end up literally like costing yourself a lot of money, and like depending on what you're running it on, like electricity does cost money and everything. But if you run, but my point is from a privacy standpoint, if you want something to be a personal assistant, I think we all would prefer, if we think about it anyway, we prefer that the stuff to be local and under our control and not sending stuff anywhere on the internet, especially if you're talking about really personal data.
Yeah.
So, that's where I think. So I think that's cool that we are seeing some improvement there. It's not just from the Chinese models. I don't know anything about Metaspark, Muse. Is it Muse also a villain from Daredevil?
I don't know.
That would make sense if Meta did that and didn't know. I thought
Wait,
it was a freaking serial killer from Daredevil.
So what is so special about this version, the Muse model? Is that just
it just came out like an hour ago?
It's just like that they haven't come out with a model in forever in AI years. So,
but this is their Opus competitor. Okay.
So I'll look at it later. Anyway, so that's our AI hype bubble dystopia and shitification update of the week. Thank you.
Longer than we actually anticipated this being.
We need a sound cue for that. We need some music.
We should have like one of those, like the Oscars has like a music like that slowly builds and like tries to like gets you off the stage.
What? Maybe I'll just put some music in here from the Riverside generic slop music collection they have that's like royalty free. I'll just put something in there at the end where like right about
in that case,
here.
I might as well just sing the tune myself. Just
Now I gotta find a tune that sounds like that. What if they don't have it?
Dude, well, you can
just
generate.
I'm not gonna go through effort for this.
You don't even have to. You're just using your own voice. We're already doing that.
We're just gonna. Okay, I got it. Get off the stage. Move on.
Okay. You know what's amazing? Like now, not that I want to stay on this subject, but usually what's funny, somebody will be like, oh, I was trying to get this model to do this thing and just like, or to generate this image or to convert. I think one of them was like have it generate an icon, like variations of an icon, and then have a way to convert it to SVG and get it. It's like, well, you are a designer and I think you know how to use Illustrator. You could just do it yourself.
Did you say that to somebody?
Yes, I did say that to somebody, unironically.
That's so great. And what was the response?
I do that a lot.
What was the response, man?
They just, it's a shrug, or like they kind of like it. All of a sudden, like it gets them at like where the heart is in that sense of like, I kind of like a great example is like when like somebody was doing something with Unity related, and there was this like, and so like. This is like, well, you could just write this thing yourself. I mean, you are an awesome Unity developer.
Give him some flattery and insult him at the same time.
Because it's almost like it's not the first choice anymore, right? Like it's not
to write it yourself or do it yourself.
To write it yourself. It's the first instinct now is let me let Ella, and it's like it's not that hard of a problem. Just do it by
lazy
hand and
creatures.
You'll be done in 20 minutes tops, right?
We have a magic button we can press that just does all the work.
You might get it done in 10 seconds or 2 hours.
Yeah. 2 hours.
Yeah.
Wait,
it depends
but wait, the 10 seconds is me
machine,
doing
right?
it, right? The 2 hours is me trying to get the LM to do it?
Well, the first thing you got to do, right, is you got to write up a plan. Wait, so that's
you got to spend an hour writing up your detailed prompt. Remember, the plan is all the tokens that are going to be input into the slot machine. So you have to try to direct the output with that. And so you're going to spend an hour doing your plan, and then you're going to run it through the most expensive model you can. It's got to churn for a few minutes.
It's got to
default. Then it's going to spit out something that's wrong, but that's okay because you expected that. So then you're going to go and you're going to pull the lever again with some additional steering prompt in there, and you're going to do this like few rounds, and then you'll get something that is almost but not quite what you wanted, and you'll just say, "Well, I've spent my entire morning this. It's lunchtime. I guess that's good enough," and you'll take it.
And then you press
that's the
button.
AI development world today.
You say, was it apply? Is that the OpenSec apply?
Apply, commit, whatever it
is. You get it to start to run, and then you go get your lunch. Yeah. You enjoy your lunch.
Yeah, you
come back.
Yeah, I actually have done that where I had the thing doing something, and I came back after lunch because it was so slow, and it was of course only sort of working.
I mean, I feel like it's like that Homer Simpson thing where like Doesn't he do it? He just presses the button.
What is this music we're looking for? Like, let's move on.
Sorry.
But yeah. So we
anyway.
only, too much
like
AI.
15 minutes.
And what happened to the Apple development?
Yeah,
section?
I know. That's what we wanted to get to. Apple development. What are we talking? Are we talking about anything Apple development specifically today?
Well, you had said something today, so this is going to be a complete switch of topics.
Here we go, everybody.
One of the
usual, we're going to whiplash you right now to a totally different topic.
Exactly, but like you had talked about a lot about modern push notifications, or at least in the way this framework of using user notification. This entire framework is like a sort of like a wrapper, which I kind of knew about, but I've completely forgotten about for a while. Partially because I don't do a lot of notification related stuff.
Yeah.
Aside from like your generic local notifications. So what is this version of it?
Well, okay, so the story goes, I'm basically trying to create a push notification system for work again.
Mm-hmm.
I did a version of this like years ago, so I haven't really looked at notifications. I kind of knew, obviously the things that evolved over time, but I didn't really look at it until recently again. And I'm like, holy crap, you could do so much stuff with notifications. Modern notifications are pretty rad. You have broadcast push notifications, which are apparently new, at least has a new tag on their website, which allow you to like deliver updates for live activities at scale. So you're like one push, I think, to lots of people with a live activity going on. You have the live activities themselves, just like in general. You can do the live activities push notification uses APNS, but it's like, I think it's different API. You have the regular push notification. There can be alerts. There can be backgrounds. We've had that kind of thing for a while, but you have a lot of customization that I never done before on what they look like. You have this push console, this whole iCloud backend now, which allows you to set up push notifications and send them. Which is
when
really
you
cool.
show me this today.
Yeah, here's an example. You don't get
video.
I'm going to show the.
We can put the link in.
Guys.
Yeah.
I'll put the link into not to the actual
developer.
Yeah, I'll put the link to that.
Put it to your account.
Yeah,
my account. But this is the iCloud thing. So this is one of the things that got me interested in thinking about what can I actually do with this instead of just quickly porting what we already did, because there's just so much stuff now in push notifications, and the tooling got so much better. Now, yeah, you could do this with CLIs, and as Aaron pointed out before the show that, if you want your LLM to spam you, that's the way to go. But I wanted to manually send myself notifications, and I was like, is there a nice little GUI I can use for this? And then I was like, oh, wait. Apple did a whole update with this, and they created this awesome backend. And the other day, I was like, I was trying to figure out how many push notifications we send on the current system. And I was like, is there a metric for this somewhere? And there is, and that's where I found it in this console. And I found like how many tens of thousands of freaking messages I sent. I didn't even realize that the dinky little program I wrote like over a decade ago sent so many notifications. I guess my point is push notifications. I think a lot of people just end up using like Firebase, whatever. It's like there's like one built in, but you can build your own. It's not actually that complicated. There's just a lot of little moving parts, but the documentation is excellent. LLMs can build a lot of this for you, although I have a story about that. And the console and stuff like this lets you visually see all the pieces that are part of it, so it's not mysterious anymore. And then you can basically design your payload however you want for the details, and then it's just a matter of like linking everything together. And again, LLMs can help you do all that deep linking and stuff, all that surgery. And I think SwiftUI itself is actually a great platform for this. Like, I feel like since the last time I did this in the UI Kit days, it's just gotten a lot easier, and there's just more options. And if you just do it yourself, you have full control, and you can just send gazillions of notifications, like if you have a lot of people, and you don't have to pay a huge amount for that. It's your server, and Apple doesn't charge for any push notifications. I don't think, never heard of anybody getting charged by Apple for push notifications. So
no,
especially not the scale of people, like our scale or something. But anyway, so you had a question. You have any question about the console?
I'm more curious about so your setup is that you have your own server or your own backend that does that push notification?
Yeah, well, currently I have a little program that runs in a loop every few minutes. It's on a Windows server, but it's going to be moved to somewhere else. And so I'm probably going to have to write this in Java
your Mac Mini?
Yeah, but if I had a Mac Mini, you could write in anything. I have a program that runs, and it'll connect to Apple's API over HTTP 2, and send the appropriate package, and it uses a token that you can get from the developer portal to do the authentication.
Nice.
And so it's very, if you're at all done any modern REST API stuff, it's just like that. And it's very similar on like Google side too.
Okay.
And then you just give it a JSON payload, and there's some specific keys, and depends on the kind of push notification, but there's very few specific things you need in there. And then you can put whatever you want in there besides that. And then, so you basically you have to put in a title and like a body, and maybe if you want a sound, there's a few keys that like Apple provides, but then everything else is up to you. Like all the data, like you can send little bits of data that make sense to send to it, but mostly you would probably use push notifications to alert somebody to something, and then trigger the app to do something when you interact with it. But like you can send notifications that are like, you have a new message, and then you can have a button in the notification. This is not new, but I've never implemented it before. But you can have like a button in there that says mark as read or delete or whatever. And then that'll send a signal to your app for you to be able to do it. So you have interactive ones. You can have like little maps, I think you can have in there. I think there's like a way of doing an encrypted aspect to these messages. Like you can format these things in different ways. You can do local notifications, so they look like push notifications. That's what I did for years.
Yeah. Yes, I totally did that.
Yeah, and that's a great way of doing it. You can send silent notifications to make your app kind of wake up and do stuff. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do with live activities. And there's also a bunch of notifications related to like VoIP and things that, I don't have access to. But like there's just so much stuff, and it's all kind of under the umbrella of the like user notifications, I think is what Apple calls the framework. But it's just like a bunch of APIs. But if you do it yourself, for like the standard push stuff, it's not that hard. I mean, it's quick to set it up to get things working on the client side, and then because the server side that I think people get worried about.
Yeah,
but it's not really that tough.
I think in the past there used to be like services like I forgot the name of it. It was like Airship or something that. Yeah,
and you can do it with Microsoft Azure. I think has like a thing.
Yeah,
they have a thing.
I mean,
But when I looked into some of these services, though, they usually have these limitations on the free tiers.
Yeah.
Which I would hit like so, because they're not that high, but it doesn't take a lot of tens of thousands of messages for you to hit these limits often. So that was one reason I think I originally was looking at writing my own. So I've done it before, but now it's just so much easier to set up. I had a good time. I did get it set up on an app using.
That's a rare
Codex.
thing to hear. I had a good time with push notifications.
Yeah, good time. I know, that's what I mean. It used to be so painful, but now it's not nearly as painful.
Yes, it used to be really painful. Yeah.
Because you can tell like your LLM, like Codex and GPT, 5.4, just like set it up for you, and it does. And then I had it like expose the token for me in my app, so I could just copy and paste it. And then I went to the console and set up little test messages so I can explore, what I wanted to do. The one thing I had that was a problem was the Codex generated some code that kept crashing when I sent an actual notification. And I guessed what the problem was, but I went through painstakingly and checked every layer one at a time to make sure it was that. But it turned out to be exactly what I thought it was. It was a concurrency bug, because it's always a freaking concurrency bug.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to create like a conform to a protocol in your app delegate, extension in SwiftUI, and then that stuff is kind of like you need to mark some of it pre-concurrency for it to work. If it's not on the main thread, it'll crash like when it receives notifications, at least some of the time. So that's the main thing that I found that fixed it. But it did generate all the rest of the code pretty well. It was fine.
Did it save you all that time?
Yeah, it did actually. It saved me a bunch of time, because the part that's tedious is setting up all the handling, and it's easy to do that, and it even handles it when the app is in the foreground, which I didn't have working before.
Okay.
Yeah, so like everything's working. Like you can handle foreground and background. You can have widget. I think there's like notifications. Yeah, the VoIP notifications like are related to like watch complications or something. Like there's all kinds of these things, but you could just build your own server, is what I'm saying. Build your own server. It's not really that hard because it's just an HTTP stuff. You need to store tokens somewhere, and then you need to send HTTP messages.
In order for you to test these push notifications, how do you do it in this case?
Without a server, you can go. I think there's a command line instructions in the documentation for this, but I just use the push notifications console, and You just go in there and you find the app ID for your app, and you go to the send area. You create a new notification. You just put in device ID and then a payload. That's a minimum of what you need.
Oh, interesting. So development goes. Is that something you created or something that Apple creates?
Apple has two environments: development and production. So release builds are production. This is development. Most of the time, you're going to do development if you're running like in debug.
And that sends to your. How does that work in terms of like sending to? Oh, so you have a device token.
Yeah, so you get a device token, or if you're going to broadcast, but you'd be testing it, so you get a device token. So your app has to register part of the UN. What is it called? Like
UUID, not the UUID.
It's a protocol. It's like a You need like UN User Notification Center. That delegate. You have to basically when your app starts up, you have to register with Apple, and it sends you a token.
Okay.
Then you have to send the token to your server, and the token can change over time, so you have to make sure you keep it up to date. That's it. You send the token to your server, and then once you have the token, for testing purposes, I just had a little screen that my app that showed me my token, or you can print it to the console or something.
That token updates. You have to send that directly to your server to save.
When you're ready, when you're just trying to get the client to work, you just need to copy and paste it into the field in the console,
the recipient
Apple
field.
console.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you could set this other stuff. You leave everything else default, like expiration and everything. Like you could set a priority to be delivered more quickly. Expirations. Look at all these different types of alerts. There's alerts, backgrounds, complications, file provider, live activity, location, push to talk, and VoIP. There's all these different kinds you can do. There's different. You can do broadcast. That's for like live activity stuff.
Got it.
Yeah, but then anyway, the payload is at the bottom, and you can either use a little GUI interface, or just what I do is I just copy and paste JSON in there.
Right.
And you can just generate that with codecs or something.
And
really
you
easy.
send it. Oh, it's so nice.
Yeah, and they send it. And so I did a whole bunch of tests because I was trying to get this, figure out why
what is the
crashing.
Get curl command? You can actually
you can get the actual
generate
the curl command. Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
So you can even have it. It'll even tell you what the curl command is. So you could just set it up that way, or use this as part of a script on the command line or whatever. And so you can do authentication with tokens or certificates. Some features require tokens, I believe. The tokens are the more modern approach. So I've been using tokens for years. You just generate it there's an area in like App Store Connect or something. It's somewhere in there. You generate a token, and you can send it to all your stuff. So like if you use a third-party service for the back end instead of writing your own server, that's the token that I'm talking about is the one that lets you send, and you'd upload that to the server. If you're going to build your own server, you have to handle that yourself, like store it somewhere.
That's very, very cool.
But so push notification, I'm just exploring. I think maybe I'll come back to this when I have actual more concrete stuff. I've just been playing around, as I said, trying to get a crasher fixed, and before I can move forward. And now that I have to start designing the actual like server kind of component to this. But I think there's just so much. We all get tons of notifications, and maybe we don't think about it too often about what's involved and how actually it's not that complicated to do, and it can be a real value add for your application if you do it right. And there's just a lot, and there's some nuances to it. There's some options in there, and there's some like little tricks you can use, which is pretty cool.
So I guess so I'm just trying to think like. Yeah, it's one of the weird the weird thing. Like if your app is not particularly like, if it doesn't update that frequently, or if it's like a utility app with like bare minimum interactions aside from like or like an art app, for example, then maybe you don't need it. Of course, you'll be like, hey, you can download. Half of them are like, hey, we have an ad for another app that we just built, which is annoying.
Well, I mean, that's, you can use it for marketing to a point, I think. I thought there was rules against it. You have to be careful about it.
Nobody listens to those rules.
Yeah, I know, yeah. I like to think of it more like you're trying to alert the user to something, like some information that got updated that's important to the user. And because you don't want to spam people. You don't want to spam
No.
But a lot of apps do, but you don't want to be one of them. But I think the thing that's really interesting is the live activity stuff, because I think that's actually maybe more broadly applicable than I thought about, because like live activities can be all kinds of stuff, and then you can just update it. Including, by the way, the example Apple gives in one of their videos is like this little group app. It's like an adventure app where they have like formed a party, and like every time an event happens, you're sending a notification to everybody to update the live activity about the progress of the whole team. I was like, that's pretty cool.
That is really good to know, actually. Yeah, that is a very cool idea.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, you can think outside the box a little bit about how you're sending little bits of data to your app, and you can show live activities or have the app respond or make them interactive. Like, you got some options here that way back in the day we didn't have, but we've had for a while. But one more thing, you can do web pushes in Safari too. I forgot about that. Like, you can do web pushes and also pushes to like your Mac OS.
Is that is that just Safari, or does that exist?
No, I think it's not just. I don't know if it's just Safari anymore. I thought, is it just Safari? I thought they might have because there's a standard for that. I thought they maybe
weird if it wasn't if Chrome wasn't invited to the party.
Sending web push notifications, Safari, other browsers and web apps that follow cross-browser standards. So so apparently they're using the push API standard from W3C now.
Okay.
In iOS, since iOS like 16.4, so it's not new, but I always ignore those things on websites. But if you're building like a web app, makes a lot more sense to maybe do this. Or if you have a website, this is a great way to potentially add some of that real-time updating and that you would like a full-on app to have, but that you don't want to build a whole app. So, like, push notifications, definitely something you should remember exists.
Yes, definitely do that.
You're building your app. It's not like the first most important thing to add, but it is cool and far more full-featured than maybe you think if you haven't looked at it in quite a while like I have. And my other point is it's not that hard to build yourself, especially today with the AI in quotes tools that we have today. It's just so much easier to set up all the plumbing that, give it a shot.
All right. Well, before we end this little podcast episode, Steve, we've been doing this for a while, but how are we doing with that monitor update here?
Why?
I mean, you don't have to go any too detailed here.
Aaron and the LLMs are gaslighting me about getting an XDR. Okay, so Aaron's like, every time I talk to Aaron about it, he's like, "Oh, you should get the XDR." And then I query the LLMs about this and about the options, and they often the recommendation is to get an XDR because it's much more future proof. That's the argument. They're trying to convince me. Everybody's trying to convince me to buy the really expensive one. But even Apple's in on the game now because my original complaint about the stand being not getting a discount for getting a VESA mount. Well, now apparently you get a discount for the VESA mount. So it's like $400 less or something, and you get a cheaper VESA mount. And if you're willing to do that route, then you save some money there. So then it's only like $3,000 or $2,900 or something.
It's nothing.
It's nothing. So for a month, okay. And the other thing is, I did more research on it. I haven't bought anything because I had to spend money on some other stuff recently.
It's cheaper than a Vision Pro.
It's true, but when I actually did, I looked at some more detailed reviews from like a photographer's perspective. Yeah, man, it's really good. It's really good. Another LMs either tell me to buy the XDR, or they tell me to buy like this $1,000 BenQ monitor and sell it in a year when I upgrade my laptop. That's what they say. Because I can't use 120 hertz. I can use everything else in the monitor until I have to upgrade my laptop to be able to use 120 hertz.
Okay.
But that's the main thing.
You've been having
XDR, man, I mean, from a professional visual creator standpoint, it is the better monitor to a studio display.
Okay.
If you want to do anything with HDR, it's amazing. I think I just saw that it got like approved for some kind of medical imaging use, like officially. Like
what does that mean?
You could use it in some kinds of environments where you have to be able to look at a scan.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to assume it's accurate. Yeah, if you've had like a bad, like a crappy Samsung monitor or something, and like there's a splotchy color or whatever, and you think it's disease, that would be bad. So they have to get. And
those are usually like $20,000 per monitor. They're insanely expensive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, some of those, I don't know if it's replacing those, but maybe. Some of those monitors, the specialized monitors for medical imaging, are very expensive. Yes, very expensive. So,
for sure.
So anyway, it is a cool monitor. It is definitely overkill, honestly, but everybody, the robots want me to buy it. Aaron wants me to buy it. So,
Apple wants
we'll
you
see.
to buy it.
Don't be surprised if I end up buying
we're just doing it for you,
YOLO.
man.
But you really want to buy it.
I do really want to buy it. Every time I want to buy it, but
we're
it's
just
so
pushing
expensive.
you off that cliff. We're just like,
it's so much money. It's so much upfront money. I'm like calculating how long it's going to take to be worth the money. How long is this thing going to last?
It's like a solar panels,
They have a lifetime too. Yeah, I know. It's
exactly.
just like solar panels or electric car or something. Like how long until it pays off, if ever?
Exactly. But
okay, so that's my monitor update. I don't have it yet, but I really, really want an XDR. That thing is so awesome.
To be continued, then.
To be continued. Yes.
Well, that's all we have for today. You can learn more about Philly Cocoa at phillycocoa.org. There you'll find links to our Slack group, meetup schedule, and contact info. If you're feeling generous, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever your podcast platform of choice is. And please share us with all your developer friends. And one more thing. I am feeling a little nostalgic for Get Reset. It takes me back. Sorry, it's a programmer dad joke.
Get Reset takes me back. I was like, what? See, I got confused because we used to say Get Slopes all the time, and I thought you just misspoke or had a minor stroke.
Well, you should get Slopes too at getslopes.com. Shout out to you, Curtis.
Curtis doesn't have time to listen to us.
I'm sure he does. You might be that one person in Colorado that's listening to us. Maybe. Who knows? Well, in any case, till next time, good luck on your own developer journey. We will cheer for you always.
That was like instant wrong answer.